Hi, so I haven't posted a video in a while, but I kind of wanted to talk about what it's like, being a teen mom of a 3-year-old and going to school and working. Someone had mentioned it and I felt like I needed to make a video on it, so here I am. Well, I'm 17 years old and my daughter's 3. I met her dad when it was 2007. I'm a senior now. I want to say 6th or 7th grade. But I met him in, I want to say 6th, so let's say 6th grade. I was with him until November of 2008 when I moved to Texas. We were living in Nevada at the time, and I moved to Texas, and I didn't know I was pregnant yet, but after I moved I found out that I was pregnant, and I was 25 weeks pregnant, and I wasn't showing at all. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like after I found out, I was like, bam. But I don't know if it was just me being a stupid young girl that, like, oh, I haven't had my period, I don't know what's going on, like, am I pregnant? No, it didn't cross my mind. But yeah, so 26 weeks pregnant. I was scared out of my mind, just because, I mean, being so young, and not having her dad involved, scary things. I mean, it's scary being a teen mother alone. After I found out I was pregnant, going in weekly checkups and whatever, nothing was wrong, everything went fine, and so she was born April 3rd at 8:30 in the morning. I was in labor for 5 hours, and she was 5 pounds 4 ounces 19 1/4 inch long, and she was perfect. She's beautiful. It just didn't seem real to me that when they placed that little girl in my arms that she was mine, and it just didn't hit until she was actually in my arms, and then everything just was great. Before I had her, I wasn't doing very good in school. I wasn't doing very good at all, and after I had her, I started getting A's, and I started getting on the honor roll, and I gave up my friends. So, I mean, my daughter is more important than anything in this world. So, to get my education and to get a good education, I stopped hanging out with my friends, and I started focusing on my education. Like I said, I got A's and B's, and now I'm working, and it's just me and her, and she's sleeping right now, but it's just me and her, and I start college in the fall, and it's really hard trying to balance working, college, taking care of a child, finding a babysitter, finding time for homework, finding time for tests, and all that kind of stuff. So that's really hard. It's really, really hard. And not to mention getting enough hours to pay bills, getting enough hours to pay for gas, buy clothes she needs, buy medicine, buy food, everything. But and living in a state where none of my family lives is pretty rough. But anyways, so everything was fine with her until she turned 1. And when she turned 1, you know, my daughter is energetic. She loves me to death. And every time I come home from school, she runs up to me and gives me hugs. Mommy, I miss you. And so one day I came home from school. Or no, my grandma had picked me up from school because she said Kaylee was sick. And, you know, like I said, normally she runs up to me and gives me a big hug and blah, blah, blah. And I walk in the door, and she just sits there. Just sits there. And I said, Kaylee. Didn't look at me. Didn't say anything. Didn't make a noise. Nothing. And I went to pick her up, and this was in the middle of the winter. It was snowing, and it was like 20 degrees outside. So she was all wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and she was warm. And so I picked her up, and she was burning up. And I'm not joking. She was so freaking hot to touch her. I took her temperature, and it said 103. So we rushed her to the hospital, and we didn't think to take her clothes off of her because, you know, it's freezing outside. So we left them on her, and when I got in the car, because it takes like 20 minutes to get to the hospital, she was still burning up. So I was like, fine, we're in the car, I'm taking her shirt off of her. So I took her shirt off of her, and then I had a blanket, and when we got to the hospital, I wrapped her blanket around her and took her into the emergency room. And we got there at noon, and they said, oh, just have a seat in the waiting room. We waited in the waiting room for 5 hours. We went back into the ER at 5:15, and she had a seizure, and it scared the living shit out of me. I've never been so scared in my life. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with, seeing that. I mean, you just feel so helpless seeing your child gasping for air, not knowing what to do. It killed me. But anyways, so after that, we took her home, and they said she had febrile seizures, which means like when you get a fever, your temperature will spike, and it will go from like the normal temperature to 104 within 2 minutes, and that's what causes the seizure. And they said that's what was causing it. And so we just went on with our normal lives, and they told us whenever she has one to just hold her, talk to her, and, you know, like comfort her and let her know that she's going to be okay, and to alternate Tylenol and Motrin. So we did that, and then she turned 2, and then her seizures would start coming without a fever. So I took her to the emergency room, and they said, oh, it's because of a fever. Well, bullshit, because she doesn't have a fever. So I don't know what's going on. I took her to a neurologist, and they said that there was nothing wrong, that she's okay. And now she's 3, and she hasn't had one in, I want to say, about 7 months. So she's doing really good now. Maybe she's grown out of them, I don't know. She hasn't been sick in a while, so hopefully she's grown out of them. But other than that, she's doing really good. Me, on the other hand, I am at my wit's end. I want to pull my hair out. I start college in the fall, and I do not know what I'm going to do. My schedule, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I start school at noon, and I don't get out till 4:25, and I have like 2-hour gaps in between my classes. So those days I'm gonna have to work from 5 to 11, and go to bed at freaking 11:30, midnight, 1, 2, I don't know, who knows, depends on how much homework I have. And then Tuesday and Thursday I go to school at 8 and get out at 4:25, so fuck if I know what's happening there. Saturday, obviously I have off. Sunday my work's closed, so that's, I guess that's a bonus. What else? Don't really know.